Welcome back to another review. We're reviewing a new album, one of the small handful of new albums that have come in the last week or two. There's a lot to talk about, and yet I don't know if I have the words to actually portray how I feel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the new Tigran Hamasyan album, Manifeste. Manifeste? I don't know if you pronounce the E. I don't know if it's like German, you pronounce the E. If it's like French, you don't. Manifeste, Manifeste, whatever. The point of the video is not how to pronounce the name of the album. It is to talk about how I liked it. Now, there's a couple new albums I want to talk about, right? And I'm seeing discourse, I'm seeing discussion about those albums. I'm not seeing anybody talking about this album. I'm sure they're out there, but I'm not seeing them. Despite listening to this album the most out of all the new albums that have come out on my radar, Manifeste, I'm just going to call it Manifeste. Manifeste is brilliant. Exquisite is the word I used at first. This album is breathtaking. It is beautiful. It has really sinister moments. I feel like I use that word too much in my reviews, but that's the best way I can describe it, Banging on the low end of the piano is a very sinister sound, How can I talk about this? This album is so good. I think it's a 10 out of 10. I usually save that for the end, but I can't hold it in. I think this album is near perfect. Of course, when I think of a 10 out of 10 album, I give it a little wiggle room for perfection, A 10 isn't perfect, but it's as close to perfect as possible. It is stunning. I feel like all this review is going to be is me shouting out adjectives because I'm struggling to describe just how much I enjoy this, But you know what? Let me pull up the track list. So I'm looking at the album on YouTube Music. Every song has a like. I don't do that often. There are so many albums out there where I'll like a song, but I don't like it enough to click the like button in case I want to listen to that specific song again. So as a whole, this album is amazingly paced. That's something I talk about in my reviews a lot, is pacing, which is extremely important for me. And I think the pacing here is spectacular. And then, on top of that, every song by itself is also extremely good. A lot of times, either an album is a great collection of songs without really much of a good pacing for the whole album, or it's like songs that fit in the album but you can't really extract from the album and listen to it without just listening to the whole album. This is neither. Every song is great, and then every song fits into the album really well. That is rare. So let's just dive into each song. We start off with Prelude for All Seekers. Beautiful little, very bright, fast piano going on. We get some synth stuff. It's kind of out there. Even for Tigran, I think it's quite out there, the synth stuff here, but it works, and it's a great opener. It's not like bam, we're started, but it's also not like easing you into it. If you're familiar with Tigran, it's very hymn. If you're not familiar, it might be a little jarring of a start, but it's got this, like I said, it's got this bright piano opening and just the lovely craziness. And then we slow down for a little bit for Yerevan Sunrise. Um, I believe Yerevan is in Armenia. It's a really nice mid energy. I'm not saying mid like it's mid, you know how the kids these days say it. I'm saying like it's middle of the road. It's not too high. It's not a complete ballad, but it slows it down compared to the first track. Then we get to the title track, Manifeste, one of the better, if not one of the best songs on the record. Very cool. I don't really have too much to say about it other than just listen to it. I like it a lot. Then we get to one of the singles, One Body, One Blood. One of the coolest synth drum programmed. I don't know if he's programming it in like placing stuff in, or if it's drum pad like tapped. And I'm not huge on electronic drums. It's really cool. It's implemented really well and creatively on this track. Then we get to Seven Sorrows, like Manifeste. This song is amazing and I have no words. I feel like it's easier for me to talk about stuff I don't like than it is for me to talk about stuff I like. One of the longer tracks with about 7.5 minutes of music. This song, I can't imagine it being anywhere else on the album. It comes in like exactly when it needs to. Then we get to Years Passing, another one of the singles. I tried to do a reaction to this song actually, and I didn't have anything interesting to say other than just my facial expressions of just how beautiful this ballad is. And the trumpet work, I believe it's a trumpet. It might be a flugelhorn, but it sounds like a trumpet. And you can I love it when brass instruments are played so soft you can hear the breath louder than the actual note. It is such a cool sound. This trumpet is so soft and so beautiful. And it's pretty simple for Tigran, which isn't saying much. That's not saying much. Simple for Tigran is like complicated for me. Then we get to another single, Dardahan. Honestly, I'm going through these songs and right now and I just don't know what to say other than it's amazing. Wartime Poem, amazing. The bridge is fantastic. Matt Garstka from Animals as Leaders, I believe, is on this one. He's on a couple of them. He might have been on the Prelude for All Seekers as well. I forget. It's like he's picking and choosing drummers and musicians for this one. I think it's the same bassist throughout, maybe. I'd have to double check. The information's out there. I'm bad at research. Yeah, but Wartime Poem, or not bridge, more of a coda. It's a bridge, coda, whatever you want to call it, outro. Fantastic, phenomenal stuff. And then The Fire Child, another ballad. This is why it's paced so well, because you get like 2 up-tempo songs and then a ballad. And then maybe one and then a ballad, then kind of a mid-tempo song and then an up-tempo song. It's like exactly when it needs to slow down, it slows down. Exactly when it needs to pick up pace, it does. And one thing about Tigran's work is sometimes it's all slow and it's beautiful and melodic. My favorite albums are always the ones that are paced. really well, mixing in the slow ballads with the fast up-tempo stuff. I think that's when his albums shine, not when it's like one energy level throughout. I think that's most of his albums are paced really well. There might be some that are just all ballads that is like it's fine. It's got great tunes, Anyway, The Fire Child is great. A great postlude to Wartime Poem. It kind of feels like they fit together. And then Ultra Dance comes in. It kind of feels like, like Seven Sorrows into Years Passing kind of feels like a piece. And then Wartime Poem into The Fire Child into Ultra Dance almost feels like one piece. Like a suite. Like these are all movements of the same suite. The way they blend into each other, kind of. I mean, there's still silence, but like it feels like it's... The Fire Child feels like it's setting up Ultra Dance, which, fantastic. Permané, we kind of slow down just a hair. We get beautiful singing on this one. I wish I remembered who was singing on it. I should have done my research. Window from One Heart to Another, beautiful. I'm starting to pick up the pace in talking about these because I want to get to this next song. AI, the Digital Leviathan, might be one of his best songs. I'm not gonna lie. It's up there with like The Grid. It's up there with Levitation 21, with his live version of Entertain Me. It is one of his best works. Is AI. One of the best pieces of music I've heard in a long, long time. I could listen to this over and over and over and over again. Then finally we end with National Repentance Anthem, which is the most beautiful song, probably my favorite ballad of the album. Second favorite song under AI. And I told my friend this. We were listening not together, but kind of like around the same time. We both put the album on separately. Perfect conclusion. I don't say that a lot about albums. Perfect conclusion. It is. It starts amazing. Everything in the middle is amazing. It ends so beautifully. And that's Manifeste. 10 out of 10. I have one complaint. And I'm going to gloss over it real quick because it's such a nitpick that it's almost unnecessary. Why does AI fade out? See, if it were the last track on the album, this would be a bigger problem. It would be more than a nitpick because you're ending your album. There needs to be some sort of conclusion. Don't just fade out. It's fine that it fades out, but I feel like maybe, I don't know. It's inconclusive. And I feel like there are better ways to end ambiguously than just to fade out. It has, because I think this is the only song that fades out that I've noticed, at least. And it's obviously a decision, like a choice. They chose to fade out. It's not like the studio saying the song's going for too long. Boop. But yeah, that's my only complaint. That's why I say it's almost perfect. It's a 10 out of 10, but there's a little room. I feel like if it had like some sort of big, I don't know, or even if National Repentance Anthem, it kind of crossfaded and kind of made the two songs kind of connect better. I don't know. I'm not going to try and suggest that there's improvements that can be made on this album because I love it so much. it's just a nitpick. You know, I have to decide if this is my favorite Tigran album. Mockroot is amazing. Bird of a Thousand Voices is amazing. I don't know what if it's almost a three-way tie. Or no. I think I like this better than Mockroot. And Mockroot was my introduction, you know? It's got the classic staples, Cars, Entertain Me, The Grid to Negate feel like staples of his work, you know? Like that it feels like that's the album. And yet back to back it got blown out of the water because The Bird of a Thousand Voices was my favorite ever since it came out. And this is just it's so hard. I want to say that this is my favorite. It might be recency bias. And I might flip-flop between The Bird of a Thousand Voices and this. The Bird of a Thousand Voices is special to my heart. It's beautiful. I even studied it and presented it for people. Like, the story is just wonderful. It's based on a folk tale from Armenia, or a fable. I don't know what you call it. And I love concept albums. I think maybe The Bird of a Thousand Voices has an unfair advantage being a concept album. But the fact that this isn't a concept album and I love it so much just speaks at how amazing this album is. You need to check it out. I feel like I've been saying this, and I'm looking at the timer. I've been talking for 20 minutes, and I feel like I've said nothing other than I really like this album. But I do. It is near flawless, impeccable piano work, as always. So yeah, did you listen to the new Tigran Hamasyan album? Did you like it? Did you not? For some reason, did you not like it? What other albums came out that you thought were possibly albums that could contend for album of the year? Because I think this is definitely one of them. I mean, it's only February. My mind could literally be blown by something between now and December, but it's such a high bar, you know? And there's other great albums that came out the day this album came out. So I'm going to talk about those. Don't you worry. But for now, let me know what you thought of this album. Go listen to it if you haven't. And I still don't know how to sign these videos off. So I'll see you in the next one.